I don't like the fact that he was carrying a gun that was fully loaded and he had 2 magazines with him, and it's pretty unusual. But nobody knows when they saw the gun, how they saw the gun, everything else. When I watch some of the people that I've been watching over the last few weeks, these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid agitators. These people aren't normal, like, oh, gee, that, they're incensed about anything.
You know who is a paid agitator? You are a paid. You literally sold a crypto coin that says fight, fight, fight on it. You're a paid agitator surrounded by a bunch of greasy little paid agitator tots, okay?
You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple.
Is that they are, at best, weak-minded individuals full of anger who have been led to the darkness by Donald Trump.
Two of late night's biggest voices just delivered something unprecedented. Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert both became visibly emotional on live television. And what they said about Trump and the Minneapolis massacre may go down as one of the most...
Americans, people who are born in the United States, being pulled out of their cars for the crime of having an accent or whatever. Children, small children, babies being tear gassed, taken into custody, separated from their parents. Just one atrocity after another being committed by this gang of poorly trained, shamefully led, mask-wearing...
Powerful moments in late-night history. Kimmel...
Masked government agents disarmed an American citizen and then executed him in the streets. That's what it
called them goons. But Colbert pushed even further, using words that stunned the audience. Executed in the streets. Both hosts...
First, Mr. Preddy appears to be filming the scene with his phone and directing traffic. An agent begins shoving the demonstrators and squirts pepper spray at their faces. Preddy moves to help one of the protesters who was sprayed as other agents approach and pull him from behind. Several agents tussle with Mr. Preddy before bringing him to his knees. He appears to resist as the agents grab his legs, push down on his back, and strike him repeatedly. An agent crouches down, reaches toward Preddy, and lifts a gun from Preddy's back near his waistband. Another agent unholsters his gun at virtually the same moment and points it at Preddy's back at close range. 2 other agents open fire, shooting him in the back as he lays on the ground. At least 10 shots were fired, killing him.
Repeated the same accusation. They framed it not as politics, but as a description of what they say the footage shows.
They say the gun Alex Preddy had a license to carry in an open carry state. All right, many of these same people screamed very loudly about when it was Kyle Rittenhouse carrying the gun, a gun that Alex Preddy did not even draw, did not touch, a gun that was taken from him by one of the agents before he was shot dead by the other.
And Colbert walked through those images in devastating detail. They disarmed him, then shot him in the back while he was on the ground. 10 times. And Kimmel made a comparison he argued exposed a massive double standard. Kyle Rittenhouse killed people.
These videos in which we clearly see one of our fellow Americans executed by ICE, and they won't even admit that it was a mistake. They say that the Honda SUV Renee Good was driving was weaponized. Is that the law and order that you voted for?
And was hailed as a hero by some.
Agents reasonably thought that they were in danger because a gun was produced.
If he's armed and they knew he was armed, it was imperative for them to take him down.
And now here, literally a guy pulls a gun on an ICE officer. He defends himself.
When you're seeing a gun in your face and you're in the scuffle, then you have to, again, assume that is a gun.
And you could tell in that moment that they saw something or something spooked them because they all back off all of a sudden, and then you hear shots fired.
You've got an armed individual, somebody holding a gun up to Border Patrol. Of course you are going to see a reaction.
Kimmel argued, while Alex Preddy never even touched a gun and was killed.
Individuals showed up to impede a law enforcement operation and assaulted our officers. They responded according to their training. And took action to defend the officer's life and those of the public around him. And I don't know of any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign.
Video appears to show he's disarmed before shots are fired. So I just want clarity on that.
I want you to not distract away from the facts of this situation.
Killed. In his view, the difference was politics. But Alex Preddy wasn't the only name invoked. 2 weeks earlier, Renee Good and
They want you to believe that something didn't happen when we all saw it happen with our own eyes.
ICU nurse was reportedly shot dead while driving home after dropping off her 6-year-old child. Then came the way Fox News defended the killing.
With respect, it feels as though in some ways you're blaming the victim here.
The victims are the Border Patrol agents. I'm not blaming the Border Patrol agents. The victim are the Border Patrol agents. The suspect put himself in that situation. The victims are the Border Patrol agents.
And both hosts zeroed in on it immediately. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem went on television and, according to the hosts, flatly contradicted what the video appears to show. Don't distract from the facts.
Masked secret police shooting innocent people with impunity in the streets are not victims. The only way they could ever even be considered close to victims is that they are, at best, weak-minded individuals full of anger who have been led to the darkness by Donald Trump and are now participating in an evil system that will stick to them like hot black tar for the rest of their lives.
Colbert argued, the facts are on video. He was disarmed before the shooting, and Colbert tore into that defense.
Do not compare ICE or Border Patrol agents to the Nazis. That's an unfair comparison. The Nazis were willing to show their face
relentlessly. That's gaslighting. That was the charge. But then it escalated further when Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino went on CNN and said
They're heartbroken, but also very angry. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends, and also the American veterans who he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in the world. Unfortunately, he will not be with us to see his impact. I do not throw around the hero term lightly. However, his last thought and act was to protect a woman. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He has his phone in his right hand and his empty left hand is raised above his head while trying to protect the woman ICE just pushed down, all while being pepper sprayed. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man. Thank you.
Something the hosts called unbelievable. He repeated it 3 times. The victims were the border agents, not the dead civilians, not the nurses, the armed federal officers. And Colbert's response was immediate and blistering. Colbert went as far as calling ICE agents Trump's personal death.
The victim, Alex Preddy, was 37 years old and a nurse at the city's VA hospital who had no criminal record. DHS did not even inform Preddy's family of their son's death. Instead, his parents first learned of the shooting when they were called by Associated Press reporter.
Squad. And then he made a comparison that left...
This administration has no idea the mistake they just made. They're messing with nurses now. They're underpaid, overworked, and they're the ones who have to deal with Dr. Robbie's inner demons. You stupid old men really want to cross the people in charge in putting in your catheters? Believe me, they can do it the lubricated way or the unlubricated way. You just made your choice.
The audience stunned. Brutal. He argued even historical tyrannies didn't always hide behind masks during atrocities. And
my wife and I have family in Minneapolis. They're afraid to take their kids to school. They're afraid to go to work. And I can only imagine how people who aren't white feel about this. How does this end? What's the plan here?
Use that to call these agents cowards. Then Alex Preddy's family released a statement, and Colbert...
Can we agree that peaceful protesters, including moms driving SUVs on their way back after dropping their 6-year-old off at school, and a nurse who stepped in to protect a woman from harm, don't deserve to be shot dead in the street by the people we are paying to protect us? Can we agree on that?
Read it aloud. The words hit hard.
Where are the reasonable voices on the right? I'm convinced now that the only people who can stop it are on the right. I know it takes a lot of courage to go against your tribe or whatever it is, but that's what we need. We need some decent people on the right to show some courage and some common sense.
Murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. Those weren't activists' words, Colbert emphasized.
I think it's a pullback. It's a little bit of a change. Everybody in this room that has a business, you make little changes. Bovino is very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy. And in some cases, that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here. But you have to understand, when I watch some of the people that I've been watching over the last few weeks, these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid agitators. These people are normal.
They came from Alex's
I
own.
believe he believes it. He can't imagine anyone ever doing anything without getting paid for it. It's paid. These are not paid agitators. These are concerned Americans. If they're paid agitators, by the way, prove it. You keep saying they're paid agitators. Prove it. You know who is a paid agitator? You are a paid. You literally sold a crypto coin that says fight, fight, fight on it. You're a paid agitator surrounded by a bunch of greasy little paid agitator tots, okay?
Family. His parents. Meanwhile, officials called Alex an assassin, even a domestic terrorist. But Colbert pushed a different...
She reportedly said, "Everything I've done at the direction of the president and Stephen Miller." Oh, so you were just following orders.
Question. Who was Alex Pretty really? Dark humor...
Kristi Noem, who runs Customs and Border Protection, heard it from Stephen Miller, who says he heard it from Customs and Border Protection, run by Kristi Noem. This is a real snake eating its own tail, which I believe is how Stephen Miller reproduces.
Followed, but the message underneath was serious. Kimmel argued those agents had alienated every nurse in America. Then he dropped the joke.
Look, I think everybody understands what the last request was, totally unrelated to anything on the voter files. This is, again, as the Attorney General said, Donald Trump telling everybody that the election was rigged, who started all this nightmare for America, has nothing to do with it. And I would just give a pro tip to the Attorney General. There's 2 million documents in the Epstein files we're still waiting on. Go ahead and work on those.
Jokes entirely and made a direct emotional appeal to conservatives watching. Kimmel said he has family there. For him, this wasn't abstract politics. It was personal. And he pleaded for reasonable voices on the right to say something. That's not political, he said, that's human. And then Kimmel turned his focus toward what he called the silence surrounding it all. Then Trump appeared on Fox News and tried to frame the massacre as justified, claiming protesters were paid agitators. That set Kimmel off. And Kimmel dismantled that defense point by point. No hesitation, no softening. He accused Trump's administration of being run by corrupt grifters. And then he warned what comes next is always the same: the cover-up. Colbert caught it instantly. He described it as a circular blame game between Noem and Miller. Everyone pointing fingers, no one accepting responsibility.